Шановні колеги, будемо продовжувати робочий день. До слова.
Good afternoon. Now the floor is given to the Ministry of Defense spokesman on ATO-related issues, Colonel Andriy Lysenko. Good afternoon, dear colleagues. Now the information about the events that happened in the ATO area during the last 24 hours and about training of Ukrainian forces. Lugansk area, as previously, enemy delivers fire along the front line. The militants violated ceasefire in Stanitsa-Lugansk region and near Shestye, near Sloviano-Serbsk, and in Popasnyansky region. In Stanitsa-Lugansk, enemy shelling was delivered for 4 hours with a break. And in Krymske and its suburbs and near Popasna, the occupants massively used mortars of 122 millimeter of caliber and 82 millimeter caliber and cannons. And the number of ammunition launched is about 90. Lion's share of heavy shellings happened between 4 and 7 p.m. And the enemy regularly shell at Stanitsa-Luganska, and that's why disengagement of forces is not yet possible there. And on the whole, during the last 24 hours in the Lugansk area, there were 16 enemy shellings, including 6 with the use of heavy weapons. The Donetsk area, all yesterday's shelling were delivered by the enemy. It was long-lasting shelling from 30 minutes up to several hours. Enemy violated ceasefire near Svetlodarsk Bulge and near Gorlovka in production area of Avdiivka. The enemy used mortars launching 150 mines at our positions. They delivered fires at our positions and also they aimed at civilian facilities. Several mines dropped near Mayorsk checkpoint and in Novgorodsk. Residential quarters came under enemy fire. The house was ruined and a resident of this house died. On the whole, during the last 24 hours in the Donetsk area, there were 7 enemy shellings, including 5 with the use of heavy weapons. The Mariupol area, the situation remains the same. And there are heavy mortar shellings delivered along the front line and traditional area, Krasnogorovka, Marinka, and coastline area. The activity of the enemy increased in Dokuchaevsk and Olenivka. According to the information provided by the intelligence service, the enemy brought 5 railway cars with Russian ammunition, and Ukrainian forces returned fire. In Krasnogorovka, in cause of enemy shelling, a garage was ruined and also a car was damaged that was inside this garage. On the whole, during the last 24 hours in the Mariupol area, there were 31 enemy shellings, including 20 with the use of heavy weapons. During the last 24 hours, and the result of the military actions, no Ukrainian servicemen killed, but 3 servicemen were wounded. According to the information provided by intelligence service, last month the commander of the platoon of so-called 1st Brigade of Russian occupation forces shot dead 2 Russian advisors. And because of such accidents, Russian commanders regularly send commissions to detachments of the enemy, and if necessary, they replace commanders. The main conflicts in the ranks of the militants are between Russian officers that are the advisors and that serve in the staff and the commanders of detachments of the frontline positions. Considering big losses and lack of military personnel, the militants from so-called 1st and 3rd Brigade and 11th Regiment of Russian occupation forces massively submit their resignation. And we remind that these detachments of the enemy oppose our forces in the main hotspots in the Donetsk and the Mariupol area. That's why the occupation administration carry out recruitment of young people, mainly ethnic Russians.
After so-called military service, they are promised to be granted Russian citizenship, but local young people, despite their ethnical identity, do not express any willingness to go to the front line and participate in combat activities. Yesterday, the checkpoint near Mangush, close to Mariupol, during a search in the car coming from the occupied territory, the law enforcers expropriated 2 grenades. And also the residents of occupied Lugansk region voluntarily surrendered 300 cartridges, 3 grenades, and anti-grenade launcher. We would like to remind that those people who voluntarily surrender the weapon won't be punished and would be liberated from criminal responsibility. Yesterday in Lugansk region, the National Guard's servicemen had military exercises in small arms, fire, and tactical medicine. Also, the National Guard servicemen handed humanitarian aid to the boarding school in Hirske village in Popasnyansky region in Luhansk. This assistance was provided by international humanitarian organizations and Ukrainian NGOs. Our Ukrainian servicemen also delivered a lesson in German language to Solidar school students. Artem Bespalenko described medical services in different countries. Dear guests, the next event will be at 1 p.m.